steel in here, and that steel and those magnets have a magnetic lock that's really tough to break. And so to start the machine up, you got to break that magnetic lock and get this thing rotating. So the amp draw goes way up, and then it'll go back down and it'll settle. Then when I hook a light bulb, where's my light bulb? I got one here somewhere. Oh, it's right here. Sorry about that. When I hook a light bulb up to this, you're going to hear the volume on the motor change. The RPM on the motor change. It's going to go down, okay? And the amp draw is going to go up. Then I'm going to do the very worst thing that you could possibly do to a generator, and that's put it under full load. And the way you put a generator under full load is you take the two coil wires and you short them out. And that puts a generator under full load. When I do that, you're going to hear this motor go, because it's going to die, okay? And that's a generator, that's a motor turning a generator with coils that are basically exactly the same size, okay? So let me go ahead and do that. It's hard to do all this stuff.
Would you like some help?
Yeah, somebody want to...
What do you need?
I just need to plug that into both sides of, you know, the positive or the negative. Is this positive? I can't see. I think that's positive, isn't it? There's a, isn't that
Yeah,
a plus
that's
right
negative.
there? Okay.
Negative.
Oh, is it negative? That's okay. You can plug it there. Just connect that one there, and then this one has to go to the positive on the back, which is going to be tough to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, there we go. So that's running. Now we've got power coming out of the generator side of this, and I'm going to connect it up to this light bulb, and the light will come on, and you're going to hear the motor go down. Can you hear it go down?
Yeah.
Not a lot, but it goes down as soon as the light comes on. Okay, that's standard. That's what every motor is going to do when you do that. Now I'm going to short the coil out. Can you tell the difference in the motor with the coil shorted out? Okay, that's under a full load. That generator's under, that motor's under a full load from the generator, and it just bogs the daylights out of it, so it can't run. Okay, that's all I wanted to show you on that. Get that out of my way. Stick it down. Okay, so how do you make a generator that doesn't do that? I didn't know. Okay, I did all my research, and what I came up with is 120 years ago, our old buddy, you might have heard of him, Nikola Tesla, came up with patent number 512340, which tells you basically how to make a generator that speeds up under load. It does not slow down when you put a load on. And it's all it is the way you wrap the wires on the coil. That's all it is. It's that simple. And I didn't believe it, so I tried it. And I built this machine. I wound 2 coils to test it, and it worked. And so I wound 12 coils, stuck them in the machine, fired it up, and burned up my motor. Because there are more things than just being able to speed up under load when you're building a generator. Okay. What happens in a standard generator is as the magnet approaches the coil, it creates, let's say, a north magnet's coming around towards the coil. As that north magnet comes toward the coil and the coil is connected to a load, it doesn't do it if the coil is not connected to a load. But if the coil is connected to a load and it has a steel or iron core in it to generate electricity, it turns that coil into an electromagnet that is also north. And so you got a north magnet trying to approach a north electromagnet, and it doesn't want to do it. And so that causes the motor a lot of pain. And then if you force it to line up, right when it gets to top dead center, it switches polarity, and it becomes a south electromagnet that's attracting the magnet that's trying to leave. So you get a double whammy. You have to fight it to get it there, and then you have to fight it when it's going away. Tesla's patent eliminates all that. The magnet goes right on by. It doesn't see that happening as it's rotating. And so when I fire up this machine, which I'm going to do in a second, and it's only got 2 coils on it, because the one with 12 coils wouldn't run, then I will show you that that's the truth. But the other thing I want to share with you is, after building this, and this is my fifth one of these, okay, at about, oh my gosh, the wire alone in this thing is like $700 by the time you wind 12 coils. It's about $700 worth of wire. So I've got about $1,500 into each one of these I built, and this is my 5th one. Wow. And so my 6th one, which is sitting at home right now, I solved the problem, which is the last problem that there is to solve, and I solved it. I'm so happy with myself I could scream. And I'm in the process of applying for a patent on it. But what I found out is a way. The only other problem that exists is when you have magnets going around and you've got 12 coils, there's no, well, I'm not going to say there's no way, but because I figured out a way, but the biggest problem you have then is just the fact that you've got a magnet passing by an iron core. And it's going to be attracted to that iron core pretty much no matter what. This machine has a rotor that looks like the one I've got stuck down here. There's my rotor. It's got 12 big 2-inch neodymium magnets on it, and they can be very painful. So I have to be very careful with this rotor. But and the cores in my coils look like this. They're solid little iron rods. And so when you have those, when you have this rotor, and it has one on each side of each magnet as it goes around, the magnetic lock on that thing is incredible. I cannot turn it by hand. I cannot break that magnetic lock loose with a 2-foot breaker bar on each end, turning the nuts out here. I can't break the magnetic lock on that machine until I came up with what I came up with, and that fixed it. But the important thing to remember is that you know, if you want a small machine, I mean, anybody could build this. Anybody could build what I got here. It's not rocket science. It's a rotor with some magnets in it. It's some iron cores wound the correct way. Tesla's patent tells you how to do it. And really all it is a bunch of wires that are wrapped on the core in parallel, but then connected in series. So you have different groups of wires on the core. Yes, sir?
What's the patent number again?
It is patent number 512340.
512340.
And his patent is to eliminate self-inductance in devices. He doesn't specify generators or motors or anything else, but it's to build motors that don't have that back EMF in them. We had the technology to build motors that don't have back EMF 120 years ago. Why aren't we doing it? All the motors that are created nowadays have back EMF. They just send it into the windings and other places in the motor to try to get rid of it, instead of building motors that don't have it. So there's some interesting stuff that goes on with this. But anyway, I wanted to fire this thing up, and I'll show you what it does. I'm going to short my coils out. That's the one thing I'm going to do to show you. And you're going to hear that there is not a peep difference in this motor with these coils shorted out than there is with them running. I've got it that well tuned, and if you see this big wads of wire up here, that's why, because I've been tuning it and tuning it and tuning it and trying to find just the exact length of wire that I need, how many strands, how long, to not speed the motor up, not slow it down, not affect it at all, so that when I'm running it at a specific speed with my motor, I can control the speed of the motor. When I add a load to it, it doesn't, all of a sudden the motor speeds up and now it's running faster than I wanted it to, or it slows down and it's running less fast than I wanted to. It took me a long time and a lot of work to get it to the point where it doesn't make any difference what load I put on that, what load I put on it. So I think I got some jumpers in there somewhere in the bag. I need them to short this thing all out.
Have you eliminated the need for step-up transformers?
For a separate transformer?
Step-up.
Oh, a step-up transformer. Well, it depends on what you want, because see, every coil, I mean, what these coils are, I have 24 strands of number 23 wire, each one's 100 foot long. And that's what this coil will hold, is 2,400 feet of number 23. So depending on what I want to run with it, I can adjust that, because the more wires you have in parallel, the more amps you have. The longer the wire, the more voltage you have. So if I want a bunch of voltage, I'll just take my wires and I'll connect them all in series.
No voltage drop.
Well, you get a voltage increase. If you connect your wires in series, you get a voltage increase and an amp drop.
Okay.
And if you connect you put your wires in parallel, you get an increase in amps, but your voltage goes up. So you got to adjust what you want to the load that you're trying to
How many
run.
systems have you figured out?
I've got several.
Yeah.
My main one was I wanted to be able to run a set of batteries. I wanted to be able to run my battery banks at my house in place of a solar system and have a unit that, because like what I just explained, I can run my inverter between the output of this and my battery bank.
Yeah.
So I'm using it while it's charging the batteries, and then I run the batteries off of it, then I run this, and then I run it off the batteries. And I can switch back and forth, and I don't have to have my unit running all the time.
Okay.
I don't have to have sunlight, I don't have to have anything. I just go. I just do it.
So it's electric generator.
Yeah, it's an electric generator. It's a generator. It's an electric generator, runs off of that motor, runs on 800 watts, puts out 3,400 watts. And that was the whole, that was the whole idea. Okay, let's see. I got to short all 4 of these out. I'm trying to think out the best way to do it. That is the beginning and that's the end. So that's beginning. I just want to be able to short it out so you guys can hear that there is not a whole lot of change in this thing. Beginning here. And beginning here. That one. That goes there. Okay, so. Okay. Okay. Now, I've learned from experience that everything is going to vibrate like crazy when I start this up, no matter what I do. I don't have anything that's going to fall off and hurt anybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Start floating.
And this machine, just to show you, doesn't have the thing in it to get rid of the magnetic lock. So you can see, and it's only got 2 coils in it. I mean, right there, locked up on the next magnet, then the next magnet, then the next magnet, all the way around. So 6 times per rotation, it locks up, and you multiply that by, 6 times as many coils, and there's a lot of force that you're trying to overcome. So I don't think I have to, sometimes you have to, break the lock with the wrench before it'll start, but I don't think with only 2 coils on there I'll have to do that. But I wanted to show it to you anyway. Okay, let's see here. That's there. I'm missing a wire.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, where'd that wire go? Okay. Now that you're good here. Okay, there's going to be a spark when this starts. I don't want anybody to get scared. There's going to be a spark when I touch these 2 things together. No. We just hooked up the motor backwards. Dang it. Oh well. That's what I was trying to avoid doing. There's a nut on the end of the shaft that this socket fits on, and that turns the whole thing. And if you start the motor the wrong direction, it spins the nut off the shaft, and that's what I just did. And so the only way to fix that is to take the motor off and put the nut back on the shaft, and then hook the wires up. Did I already switch that wire? I think I did. Yeah, red to black, I did. Because it was red to red. Okay. So I got to take these 4 nuts out and put them back in. This is the story of my life. And unfortunately, it's a story of my wife's life, too.
What did she think about that?
She didn't know what to think. She thought I was full of blunt. So she went with me to talk with. We went and spoke with a patent attorney who was also an electrical engineer. And I took my big machine and I did a demonstration for him. And so she was pretty happy with what he had to say, because he had the meters right there to measure everything, and he was happy, so she was happy. So now she's like 100%. Well, that's not the progress. Yeah, I don't know if it's stripped. It's because it's left-handed threads, so now it's stripped. Well, that's a good sign, because if that's just turned, then let's just go ahead and put it back on and see if it works. If we get it the right direction, it'll force it on. Or it's stripped, one of the two. There's nothing I can do. It won't be the first time.